Welcome to Ethiopia, to Yemhana Christus Church. How to go there? If coming from Addis Ababa, there is a direct flight to Lalibela that takes less than an hour. Once in Lalibela, Yemhana Christus can be reached by a 1.5-hour drive by 4WD. It is also possible to reach it by foot or mule. Both options take around 5 hours and the routes offer incredible scenery throughout. Yemhana Christus Church is an 11th/12th century Ethiopian Orthodox church located in Amhara region, northern Ethiopia. Built of stone and wood, it was erected in the architectural tradition of the ancient kingdom of Aksum. The Church of Yemhana Christus is one of Ethiopia's best preserved late Aksumite churches, and is named for a 12th century Zagwe priest, king and saint. Over the centuries many pilgrims came to the church to die, and their remains are buried behind the structure. The Church of Yemhana Christus is one of Ethiopia's best preserved late Aksumite churches, and is named for a 12th century Zagwe priest, king and saint. It is set in a spectacular landscape of juniper trees located inside a large natural cavern on a hill in northern Ethiopia, predating the famous nearby rock-hewn churches of Lalibela by almost a century. The walls of the building were constructed with alternating layers of recessed timber beams and projecting plastered stone, and the windows are covered by carved cruciform lattices. The interior is divided into a nave and two side aisles by masonry pillars and arches, with a domed sanctuary on the east end. All interior wood surfaces, including the paneled ceilings, are elaborately decorated with carved geometric designs and polychrome. The walls are painted with polychrome murals depicting scenes from the Bible. Priests and hermits still live at Yemhana Christus, and the church is a place of pilgrimage. Over the centuries many pilgrims came to the church to die, and their remains are buried behind the structure. Yemhana Christus was included on the 2014 World Monuments Watch to raise awareness of this extraordinary site and its importance. The building has generally been well preserved, but evidence of structural cracks noticed around the time of the watch announcement led to a thorough assessment of the site. Despite Yemhana Christus being one of Ethiopia's best preserved late Aksumite buildings, few people reward themselves with a visit. And a reward it is. The church is different because it's built rather than excavated. Seeing the stepped exterior facade, created from alternating wood and stone layers, you'll understand why so many of Lalibela's rock-hewn churches look like they do. And knowing that Yemhana Christus may predate Lalibela's churches by up to 80 years, you have before you a virtual blueprint of greatness. Incredibly, the whole church sits on a foundation of carefully laid olive wood panels, which float it perfectly above the marshy ground. The carving and decoration are exceptional, especially the cruciform windows and the elaborate nave ceiling. Behind the church lies a pile of mummified bodies. Some are those of pilgrims who've come here to die over the centuries, others are said to be those of the workmen. This entirely inspiring and slightly spooky complex sits within a cave roofed by basalt lava flows. The ugly brick wall at the front was built in 1985 to improve the church's security. The church is about 1.5 hours, 45 kilometers, north of Lalibela by 4WD. It can easily be visited along with Abetu Ensesa, Bilbila Georgis and Bilbila Chicos. It's also possible to get here by foot or mule. Both options take about 5 hours to cover the shorter 20 kilometers distance. The climb up to the church through a forest of juniper trees alive with vervet monkeys takes around 20 minutes. About a 90-minute drive from the town of Lalibela, and driving through totally magnificent scenery one finds a church that is built inside a cave. Yemhana Christus dates back to 1100 to 1200 AD period in Ethiopia's history, Some say this church predates even the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela itself. The drive there and back is slow yet scenic as one passes villages and churches with a scattering of shepherds every now and again. The steep walk up to Yemrihana Christus and the cave is quite rough on the old lungs because of the altitude, but stopping to get your breath back every few minutes or so and one is rewarded with a rather interesting find. Inside the cave, a beautiful church presents itself, built the traditional way, not like the churches of Lalibela. This church is laid out on a foundation of Africa olive wood, while the main structure is a combination of wooden and granite struts. Once inside the church, it is the wooden ceiling that is spellbinding. The attention to detail is extraordinary. The strangest part of the cave is the area where there are 1,000 of mummified human bodies just lying behind a fence. I must say it is a rather strange experience looking at all the dead. They seem to have been just stacked on top of each other. The small village where you park the vehicle is a great spot to buy a cool drink or water when you get back to the vehicle. Nothing like supporting the local community, I say. If you are staying in Lalibela for a few nights, it is so well worth the effort to visit Yemrihana Christus for the scenery alone, never mind what you are going to find in the cave itself. All photographs have been taken by us here at uerfi.com with the sole purpose of showcasing the church and area around Yemrihana Christus. Yemrihana Christus was also built up to 80 years before the rock-hewn churches in central Lalibela. Unlike the churches in the center of town, Yemrihana Christus was not excavated from the rock face, having been built more conventionally. It was constructed from layers of stone and wood panels, expertly designed to prevent the monastery from sinking into the marshy ground beneath. This design contributes to the monastery's characterful aesthetic. The gravitas of the church is enhanced by its location. Situated in a cave whose roof was formed by basalt lava flows, the monastery is shrouded in darkness, granting it a solemn and somewhat bewitching atmosphere. This cave itself is surrounded by juniper trees, where vervet monkeys are sometimes found. The interior of the church is spectacularly ornate. The walls of the church display carved geometric designs and colorful murals portraying various biblical scenes. It is very well preserved, although there are a few structural problems that have developed over the years. Thankfully, many of these are being dealt with thanks to a grant from the U.S. State Department Ambassador's Fund for Cultural Preservation, AFCP. Like most ancient churches in Ethiopia, Yemrihana Christus is still in use today. There is something quite fascinating, and often deeply moving, about witnessing this more than 800-year-long continuity in religious practice and heritage. Yemrihana Christus is one of a group of churches found in the highlands around Lalibela. The other major churches in these highlands are Ashetan Mariam and Narakuto Laabi Monastery. Thank you for watching.
check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.